Are the Yakuza games getting more and more absurd? Yes, and I love it. Yakuza games are known for its grounded storytelling, capturing a realistic portrayal of Japan's infamous organized crime, presenting a thought-provoking narrative of tragic characters, and making it one of the best serious crime drama. Did that granny just do a flip? In all honesty, the Like a Dragon franchise had always been a bizarre series, to the point that fans won't really question why we have to beat up a Roomba, considering that's a better option than fighting against Boss Baby. Well, yes, these odd events happen mostly in the sub-stories, but it doesn't mean that Like a Dragon games aren't aware of how ridiculous the franchise has become. Even though we fought mano a mano against tough Yakuza characters to eventually fist fighting tigers then somehow battling the mighty Kraken, so should we actually be concerned that Majima is now able to do these kinds of wacky things? Is the Yakuza series turning more and more into a power fantasy? Or has the series always been like that? This is the absurd power fantasy in Like a Dragon games, and why this isn't far-fetched from the Yakuza games that we know and love. But before that though, if you cannot wait to play Majima with his monkey, then like this video and join Otaku Defined for more Yakuza content. So was the Like a Dragon series always been intended as a grounded portrayal of Tokyo's underbelly? Or has it been set up to go beyond reality, to the point where summoning sharks is seen as normal? Well, let's go back to how the series came to be, and what was its goal as a game. If you are a long-time Yakuza fan, you know by now that the series started off as a serious crime drama, featuring characters whose lives are intertwined with the dealings of organized crime. And if you're Sega back in 2005, you would have rejected this idea of a game, since that is exactly what happened with future RGG Studio when they proposed to make a game about Yakuza, as told by Nagoshi, the series creator. Sega, back in those days, are convinced that games should possess mass appeal, because at that time, Japanese developed games are losing steam and are being outsold by Western developers. So Sega told Nagoshi to drop this Yakuza project and focus on making safer games that can make lots of money. Fortunately, Nagoshi persevered through this, as he didn't want to make games that are just sequels to past hit games. Moreover, he wanted to make a game known for its uniqueness. If Resident Evil is known for its horror, and Metal Gear Solid is for military, then Like a Dragon would be special for its Yakuza setting, a genre that is popular in movies, mangas, TV dramas, but has never done as a video game. Sounds like a perfect plan for Nagoshi until Sega rejected it. Sega feared that since Yakuza has a strong Japanese identity, not to mention it will feature a ruthless story set on the underground world of organized crime, it will not be successful. Later on, Sega is proven wrong, as the Like a Dragon franchise has sold over 22 million copies. So what actually won over gamers that made Yakuza such a successful video game franchise? Well, it's the same thing that Nagoshi fought for. They wanted to make a game that is different from what is being developed by other studios. Yakuza wasn't created to imitate the crime-ridden game of the GTA franchise. Yakuza wasn't developed as a beat-em-up to go against the Devil May Cry series. Yakuza wasn't made to be a realistic portrayal of organized crime. Rather, Yakuza is a game meant to stand out from the rest of other titles. That rather than moving the story from its setting, the direction of the game has always been led by the protagonist's personality. Hence why the original name for Yakuza is Ryuga Gotoku, which means like a dragon, as the series creator wanted the players to feel the overwhelming power of its protagonist, Kiryu Kazuma, that despite being human, has this otherworldly strength that can overcome any obstacles. And this dignified vigor is reflected on what the series was intended to be. A game that will be recognized by its powerful storytelling and the strength of its characters to persevere through any challenges, like how Nagoshi convinced Sega to release this game. Majima, despite being used by his family, did the impossible to protect his loved ones while remaining loyal. Ichiban will always look on the brighter side of a person, believing in them that they will eventually do the right thing. Even in their latest game, Infinite Wealth, This was the philosophy that Kiryu reminded to Daigo, Saejima, and especially Majima, that no matter how hard life kicks them, he should stand up again and punch it harder. Nagoshi stated that despite the series featuring Yakuza, the game never intended to be about violence, but a game that would make the players want to do their best to live another day. And they did this so well by creating a protagonist that lived up to that ideology. Yakuza games have always been more character-centric rather than basing their games from its setting. So despite Yakuza starting off with a more grounded storytelling and abilities that can be done by athletic individuals, it never limited itself to welcome more absurdity in the game. As we see that each title has raised the stakes higher and has made each character stronger and wield more abilities you'll only see in mangas and anime. While this bizarre change is indeed eyebrow-raising, making us look like The Rock, looking back on its history and how Yakuza was developed into a game that will differ from the rest, it does make sense. RGG Studio wanted to make the game evolve, hence why during the development of Yakuza Like a Dragon, they mentioned that they have a huge plan on making this title different from the rest, and we got a turn-based mechanic starring a new protagonist, which indeed revitalized the franchise and even has outsold the classic beaten-up Yakuza titles. This entry was also the starting point of characters possessing more and more absurd abilities, with Majima running down from a building and summoning 1,000 knives, Kiryu dragon blasting enemies, and Daigo proving that he can solo the verse with just a gun. But now, as we can see Majima summon a 15-foot chimpanzee, is this the breaking point? No. Since again, Like a Dragon games have always been about having a unique identity. Majima being able to summon creatures doesn't really break the game's individuality, since Majima is known for his wacky personality. Then it's logical that a game featuring the Mad Dog of Shimano will have these strange yet powerful abilities, which is a similar reasoning as to why a game starring Ichiban Kasuga is a turn-based game, considering that Ichiban sees himself as a hero like in Dragon Quest, the most popular turn-based game in Japan, or why titles starring Kiryu is more grounded, because that is who he is as a character, that despite his overwhelming strength, his humility drives him to live like a dragon among men. Coincidentally, while Like a Dragon Gaiden is more fast-paced and has more sci-fi elements, being able to use drones, jet boots, and cigarette bombs. Because once again, Joryu's character as a secret agent makes it different from other games that starred Kiryu. This is also the reason why Kiryu opted into the turn-based mechanic in Infinite Wealth, since he learned from Ichiban to trust his friends. Thus, for the first time, he depended on his comrades to help him fight, while still proving that he is the legendary dragon. Yakuza titles are always intended to portray their protagonists first, adjusting their games based on who that character is. And since Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza stars Goro Majima, it makes absolute sense why he can conjure shadow clones to beat up enemies, why he can suddenly command animals to do his bidding, or how he is somehow now an expert in naval battles. The Yakuza franchise has been absurd from the very beginning, making Sega doubt its basis for a game. Even Sony had to double-take before accepting the game. Yakuza has always been a strange game. It's just that its absurdity was dependent on the protagonist. This is the reason why some people weren't really bothered that Majima can do these things, because he is Goro Bloody Majima. Who's going to be crazy enough to tell him no? And these power fantasy abilities shouldn't be a reason to say that Like a Dragon games are becoming strangers to what they originally were, nor a reason of concern that the series is now entirely going in a different direction because it was different from the start. Since Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza, despite having these otherworldly powers, will still tell the same dramatic story we know and love. And look no further than Majima to present another tragic story. Because chances are this is yet another game that will turn any individual into an emotional mess. Yes, even with this massive chimpanzee. So no matter how absurd Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza becomes, I'll be excited to play it, especially since it's coming out 1 week earlier than expected. So are you guys excited to summon sharks and monkeys as Majima? Let me hear your thoughts, since this game has been breaking the impossibility considering these characters are old. But are they becoming too old? Well, check this video out. Join Otaku Defined for more Like a Dragon content. This is Math, and stay awesome my kyodais.